Hello, Sarah of SEK Handmade here, and I am super excited to bring to you another Meet the Maker interview. You guys know I love, talking in general, but I especially love talking with other makers and learning more about them and their journey and what they're making, and in turn, introducing them to you so that you can get to know maybe some makers you already know or someone totally brand new for you to check out. Either way, it's a bunch of fun, and I'm super excited to have Kristen of Hooks, Books, and Wanderlust here with me. She is just such a lovely and kind person, and I have enjoyed getting to know her over the years through social media, and I can't wait to talk to her live here with you all and get to know more about her. Hello, friend. Sorry.
Hello.
Guard there.
It always seems to happen like that.
Totally fine. I have my tea here as well to stay cozy, though my son said today, Mom, it's going to be so warm. And I said, oh, yeah? How warm is it going to be? In the 20s.
That's how you know you live in Wisconsin.
Yes. It's all relative, and it has been extremely cold. So like in the 20s is like heat wave.
Break out the t-shirts, wear some shorts and flip-flops.
I went to pick the boys up from school yesterday, and there was a dad in the parking lot in shorts and a t-shirt. And my boys were like, I don't think it's quite that warm. And I was like, I'm glad you feel that way. Let's talk again when you're in middle school, right?
There's totally always that guy.
I feel like it's a middle school boy thing to do too. Like, I don't need warm clothes.
My kids, like, honestly, it's the first day of winter, and it's like 12 outside, and my oldest is trying to get out the door without wearing any coat. Not even just a jacket, but like no coat at all, no hat. And I'm like, he's like, well, I have a long sleeve shirt on. I'm like, 12. Like, I just say the number of the temperature, and I'm like, no, go get a coat and a hat. I made those for you. Go put them on.
Right. I picked up when it was like -20 here one day recently, and when my youngest is like that, he's like, I'll put on my hooded sweatshirt and I'll be fine. And I'm like, that's great unless it's -20, and then that's not cutting it. So he came out of school all bundled up with like his gloves and his hat and everything on, and I said, thank you so much for bundling up. And he goes, my teacher made me do it.
Thank you note to the teacher. You
right. Exactly. I appreciate all your hard work, because I know how hard it is to get a hat on that child.
That's awesome. I mean, seriously, kids. Oh,
right.
Man. Now yours are, you told me this recently, but I have the world's worst memory. So tell me again how old they are.
They are 10 and 7.
Right. Okay. That's right. They are the same age as mine.
Oh, are they exactly the same age?
Yeah. Oh my oldest is 10 and my youngest is 7.
I love it. That's why you forgot, because it all just blended in with your own children.
It does. It's hilarious.
I love it. Well, I'm so excited to chat with you some more and learn more about you. No matter how much I know someone pre these chats, I always learn something new. So it's always so exciting and fun. So why don't you start out by just telling us a little bit about yourself, whatever you want to share, your family, where you live, where you grew up, all those kinds of things.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I have to admit, like, I've done, I have my book club that I do virtual on here once a month, and I should be used to doing like live videos, but I still get so nervous. I almost texted you beforehand, like, oh my gosh, I'm like freaking out. So I made tea.
Perfect.
Tea solves everything. So, I don't know. It's kind of a boring story. I live in St. Louis right now, but I grew up in Indiana, and my parents are divorced. So I spent I grew up in Indiana, but I spent my summers and other special holidays and stuff down with my dad, who lives down in like the Memphis area. He's actually on the Mississippi side. So, so I grew up doing all the sports. Let's see, I did soccer, volleyball, kickball. I did horseback riding for a long time. I used to show, yeah. And then I got tired
That's
of
not
doing
boring.
that. No, it was actually a lot
super
of
cool.
fun. I miss doing that for sure. I haven't ridden in gosh, too long. But yeah, I went to Purdue University up in Northwest Indiana, and I met my husband there, and he got a job in St. Louis, and I said, hey, I'll come too. So, and kind of rest is history. So that's where we're at now. We live in St. Louis, and I've got 2 boys, 10 and 7, like we said. Yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
I love it. So, what did you study in college?
So I actually went there for engineering, but it's actually kind of a funny story. So like I got accepted into the School of Engineering, which as a woman, you know, that can be, it's definitely a man's world there. And I just remember very like distinctly sitting in my my AutoCAD drafting class back in high school, because I took all these like tech courses, you know, preparing for my new degree. And I'm sitting there, I'm like the only girl in the classroom, and I had finished my final. I'm the only one done. And I'm just sitting there looking around the room, swinging my legs in the computer chair, like, I don't want to do this. I went home and I told my mom, she's like, are you kidding me? You just got in. She's like, you are doing it for at least a year, which confirmed I did not want to do it. And so, I switched majors and I went to business, and that way, you know, I figured it would be a good marketable degree, and I didn't know what I wanted to do personally. So
yeah.
But yeah.
I went to college. I took choosing my college and choosing my degree like the world would end. Yes. And then I went to college, and like halfway through the first semester, somebody transferred to a different school, and I was like, oh, wait, this isn't the rest of our life.
So did you change majors then? Because I know you were. Oh, okay.
No, I didn't, but I stressed a lot about what school I was going to go to, and like the difference between one small Lutheran college and another small Lutheran college, one in the southern border of Minnesota versus the northern border of Iowa, was gonna like change the course of history. And so I was very like uptight about all of that. And when I got to school and realized like, oh, like people change majors and people like are unhappy and go to a different school, I was like, I should not have stressed out that much about it.
Right. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on high schoolers, like now as much as then, and probably long before us and long after us, to make this life altering, like set the course of your life at 17. Let's be honest, because you don't do it at 18 when you're graduating. You need to have that crap figured out before you get that far. So it's like, figure out the rest of your life at 17. Go.
I wonder, so I don't know how your parents were, but I wonder if it has to do with the fact that back when our parents were making those sorts of decisions, you didn't change. You went, my dad grew up on a farm. In the summers, he would work. Oh man, you're gonna know him from Iowa now. Detasseling corn for Pioneer Seed Corn. He went to school, got his degree in architecture, and continued to work for Pioneer Seed Corn until he retired.
Oh wow!
And so
nothing with architecture.
No, he was their facilities guy. So he designed their research facilities and like traveled the world, like managing the projects to change facilities into research or business hubs or sales offices or whatever. But I feel like it's a lot more common now to change jobs, change companies, change roles, to start off in something with your degree and end up I mean, maybe owning a small yarn business.
Right? Totally. And I mean, this is totally what I had in mind back when I was 19, changing my major to business school.
Right?
It's not. I didn't crochet then. No, I actually my first job out of college, and I was there for several years before I had my oldest, and then I stopped working to stay at home with him. I used to work in trucking. So yeah, I didn't actually drive the trucks or anything, but I worked in an office that's what we did. We arranged the transportation of not just trucks, but like everything. Like if you want to get something from China to the United States, I'm your girl. Like you can, at least I was, 10 years ago, the last time I did it. But yeah, it's kind of funny because I'll tell people that and they're like, I just can't see it. Like, well, it's true. Yeah, it is.
I love it. I love it. So when did you learn to crochet and when did you start your craft journey?
So I've always crafted. I was that kid that I didn't want like the new Barbie dolls. I wanted the new craft kits. I wanted all of the craft kits when I was a kid. And in fact, let's see, my first like stitch fiber type thing was actually embroidery. My grandma taught me how to embroider. And another little funny tidbit is my mom was going through my grandparents' linens, and like after they passed, they're going through the house and everything, and she found this set of pillowcases. She's like, "Oh, my grandmother embroidered these," and I'm looking and I'm like, "No, she didn't."
Right?
My mom's like, "No, I'm pretty sure it was my grandma." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure it was me." Like,
my brain remembers differently.
Yeah, I was like, grandma, like, I guess my great grandmother had left them, and grandma hung on to them because that generation never gets rid of anything. And so, like when I showed interest in embroidery, she's like, "Here, embroider these." I said, "Okay." So there it was. But yeah, I actually didn't really learn how to crochet until I was pregnant with my youngest. So about 8 years ago now. And I just wanted to, my mom says it's that she started me all on this whole journey. Like she and my best friend's mom decided to do a crochet class over at Joann's together. And my best friend and I were like, "Y'all are such old ladies. Like, this is ridiculous." But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay. All right. Look, Mom, I made a pot holder. Hey, look, Mom, I made another pot holder. I'm like, she's like, now who's the granny? I'm like, yeah, well.
So did you all take the class together then?
No, sadly, we all kind of live very far apart. So I grew up in Indianapolis, and my mom and my best friend's mom still live there. But both my best friend and I moved away. So she's in Appleton now, and I'm here in St. Louis. So yeah.
Sure. So where did you learn? Did you go to a yarn store? Did you go to a Michael's or a Joann's?
No, YouTube.
YouTube. Okay.
Mostly all about Ami. Stephanie. When I found her blog for the first time, I mean, she just had such beautiful pieces that were all so simple, but yet very stylish. And she had taken the time to like show you all the steps on how to do it. And so between her and helping me learn how to read patterns and what things mean and how to work things, and then Tamara from Moogly on YouTube, we figured it out.
I love it. Is that your preferred method of instruction, to watch videos?
Yeah, I definitely do better with being able to watch somebody do something, and I can like slow it down or go back or, whatever. But sometimes it's also nice for me to be able to see it in other ways. So like being able to look at the photographs too, sometimes that helps because I don't know. So all of that kind of those different ways of learning. I'm not just relegated to video. I have to see everything and then kind of see it in different ways, I guess. So that's how I learn.
I love it. So you started with pot holders, which I think is a great place to start. Whenever somebody says to me, I decided I wanted to learn how to crochet, so I made a blanket. I'm like, you did what?
Little.
Right. So I think something small is like the perfect way to go about it.
Yep.
How did you progress from there? What did you instantly fall in love, or was there something that you made that did you start making for your kids?
So I wanted to learn. I did all the pot holders so that I could practice. And I had some doozy ones that had like, where it's like I missed a stitch at the end and I didn't go into the chain, or, it looked all wonky and all the fun stuff. But no, what I really wanted to do was be able to make my kids blankets that they could keep and snuggle under, and it would be meaningful to them. And so the first blanket I made was so short, like all of the pot holders were leading up to the first blanket. So I did just a basic granny square that just kept going. Like granny square blanket, real simple, a couple of different colors, and made that for my youngest, who I was pregnant with at the time, and then to kind of match his nursery. And then my oldest wasn't to be left out, and so he got one, and I used his to like practice different stitches and switching it up too. So I did different and lots of different colors. So his is very large departure from the granny square, but it was fun. I was hooked. Pun intended.
I love it. So do they like cherish them like you would hope to? Because I made my kids little loveys that I hoped they would get attached to, and both of them are like, meh.
Meh. So the youngest that started it all, yeah, he could care less. But my oldest actually uses his. He's
That's
the
sweet.
He's the more sentimental out of the two of them. So yeah.
I love it.
50-50.
How did you, once you got going, how did you travel from crafter to designer? Did you go straight into designing? Did you ever sell finished items?
So I did not go straight into designing. I preferred to kind of I kind of went into testing. I did a little bit of testing because I think that's a really great way not to just learn new skills, but to help me understand even more about patterns and how to write them, how to read them, and kind of what potentially they might be missing that I might want to add to it. Like how basically looking at something and saying, how would I do this differently? And because one of my big things is like I enjoy following people's patterns, but often I like to tweak it to make it my own. And I think that that's a natural thing for most creative people. So that's kind of what led me into designing, is I was like, well, if I was going to do this, I would do it like this. And then maybe I should write that down in case I want to do that again. And then it just kind of was like, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and release this. I don't know, see what happens. So yeah, that was, I think that was right. My first pattern I released was the Autumn Walks triangle scarf, which was 3.5 years ago, maybe. So.
Very cool. And once you started designing, was there just like a flow of ideas or
I feel like, yes. It's like as soon as you get one idea, you're like, oh, I love this stitch pattern. Oh, I could use it here, and I could use it with this, and I could tweak it like this and then make that. And it's like, it's just, I feel like creativity just breeds more creativity. And it's like, I feel like I have them all swirling around in my head. I'm like, I need to write this down.
Do you keep a journal of ideas?
I do. Yeah. Sometimes it's on my phone. Sometimes it's in an actual notebook. They're kind of everywhere. I need to really get more organized about that.
Every time I'm feeling unorganized, I buy an additional notebook as though that will be the magic notebook that brings it all together. That's going to be the one. And it just ends up that I have more. I'm not joking. Behind my computer here, I have a stack of at least 5 notebooks that have like different things in them. And then like, don't send me down the sticky note aisle, because if they got a color I don't have or a size, I'm going to be buying those, because then I make the notes and then related things I sticky note on top of them.
That's hilarious. I am a big fan of sticky notes though. I will like smack them, like I've got some up here, there's some over there. You can't see them, but they're there. And I'm right there with you on the notebooks. Like this is going to be the magic notebook that makes me organized, and it's going to change my life.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's got dust on it.
And 3 ideas for patterns I've forgotten about.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Pretty
Oh
much.
gosh, I love it. I love it. So cool. So, tell me about your business name. How did you come up with it? Does it have special meaning?
So, yes, I kind of actually, so I have 2 kind of business names because I have my finished items that I sell on Etsy, which is mostly just like one-offs, you know, there's samples of things, or I've worked out patterns. But that name actually came after the one I came up with for the blog. It just didn't, I don't know, I didn't feel ready for it at the moment. But so Hooks, Books, and Wanderlust kind of stems from, it's just basically all of my 3 favorite things. You know, it's crocheting, it's reading, and it's traveling. Not that I've done very much of the traveling lately, but you know, who has? But it kind of all stems from living what I call like la belle vie, which is basically French for, you know, like the good life. Living every moment for what it counts and doing the things that, you know, bring you joy and bring peace to your soul. And that's kind of what the whole mantra is behind the Hooks, Books, and Wanderlust name, that's my way of doing exactly that.
I love it. That's so cool. So it started as a blog name. Is that where you started with your business, or did you have the blog and like lie to yourself and say it's not going to be a business yet?
I did it really backwards. So I was having so much fun crocheting, and everything was piling up in my house. And Bob, my husband, he was like, "You need to sell this stuff." Right. I'm like,
girl can only wear so many hats or use so many pot holders.
Here's a pot holder. You get a pot holder, and you get a pot holder. Yeah, so I started selling them on Etsy, and I had this name for the Hooks, Books, and Wanderlust for a blog idea, but I wasn't ready for the blog yet. So I just I was selling finished items, and that was it. And honestly, most of my business on Etsy isn't even finished items anymore. It's mostly cut files, which is another craft that I like to do. So, but I had that first, and it just sat on me. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like I was being told that I needed to do this, and like I had thought of it, and then I didn't do anything with it. And I probably didn't even start the blog for like a year after I thought of the name of it. And I'm finally like, all right, I'm just going to do it. We're going to see what happens and go from there. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at now. Honestly, I feel like the blog has kind of taken over more than the actual other side of the business with the finished items and whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of transitioned.
Do you have a preference more towards design and blogging, or towards making finished items?
I definitely prefer designing. I like both. I mean, I think they both have their pros and cons, you know. I mean, from the designing aspect, I love to be creative. I love to make something, just pulling it out of thin air, out of my head or wherever, and making an idea and making it into something. I hate doing all of the computer work that goes behind it. Hate it. But I also really enjoy making finished items. So, especially like things that are kind of meditative that I can Netflix and chill with. So I do actually still sell some. There's a store here locally that I will make and sell some stuff in the store here in the area. So that's always a fun distraction when I am trying to avoid all that computer work.
Yes. Yep. I may be sitting on 2 patterns that are completely finished and just need the computer work done on them.
Yep. I'm right there with you. The 3 patterns that I've been working on this last couple of weeks, all like I had all the pictures done. I had them all made. I had it all worked out, all about a month before Christmas, and I'm just now getting around to doing all of the other stuff.
Yep. I feel your pain.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the last project you finished up.
So the last project, so I'm working on a collection of patterns right now. And so a lot of my projects have been kind of testing my own pattern to make sure that it's tweaking out right. And so right now I'm working on another scarf, but I'm trying to think before that what I finished. I think it was a hat. It was a hat for my oldest that he won't wear because kids.
Because we already discussed that.
Yeah, see previous conversation.
Right.
Yeah, it was a kid. Yeah, because I was like, oh, I need to make. I'm going to go ahead and try and make the kid size of this pattern just to kind of see how it falls and where it hits. And I was like, okay. So yeah, that was the last finished object. But now I'm working on another scarf, and then it's another hat, and then it's another scarf. So,
we're kind of just coming off the holidays here. Do you make a lot of things for holiday gifts?
I would say it's probably 30% of the people I gift to get something handmade. And it just really depends on who it is that I'm giving what to. You know, if I think that they're going to appreciate something handmade or, you know, then absolutely. If not, then it's cool. But like I made up a hat and a cowl for like my brother and my sister-in-law and my mom, because they're out in Indianapolis. And my mom was like, yeah, we gave them their gifts for you guys today. And Keith just wore his hat the rest of the day. Like he didn't even take it off. I'm like, yay.
That's the best.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that makes you happy. You're like, as soon as somebody tells me they're having a baby, I'm like, oh, you're getting a baby blanket. So yeah, I think, I do a fair amount, but not probably, I don't make everything. I only do it for people that I think are going to appreciate it.
Yeah. I think that's important. I think there can be disappointment and potentially resentment if you pour a ton of time into something and you gift it and they're like, oh, great. So I think I think a lot of times there's a desire to be like even with people, but I don't know that that's the best way to go about it. I think your strategy of choosing the people that most appreciate your hard work is
right.
Smart.
Well, and if they're going to actually like it and use it and wear it, then that's kind of the whole point of it for me. So,
right.
So that way,
I mean, it could sit in the closet at my house.
Like that, like those hats and the blankets that we made with all that love that they just don't care about. Like, darn kids, you cut me deep.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So funny. So what are you working on currently?
Another scarf. So funny story again. This scarf that I'm wearing was the one that it's the Brookside Scarf that's currently in testing. And when I was taking pictures of the finished scarf, you know, I'm like, wow, I kind of like this, you know. I was gonna make it and give it to my school's trivia committee for their fundraiser. That was the point. It was like, you know, that's part of the silent auction. And so I was like, oh, I'll just, you know, I'll donate the scarf. I don't need another scarf, you know. But then I'm wearing it and I'm like, kind of nice. I think I'm gonna keep this one. So I did. So right now I'm working on a replacement scarf for the trivia night. Yeah, and I'm gonna make a matching hat for it too. So
I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit about the Brookside collection that you've got coming up.
So about a month or so before Christmas, I released a free pattern on the blog for a coaster pattern. At the time, I didn't really have the name for it yet, but now I'm calling it the Brookside coaster. It's really just a gauge swatch that I use for the other patterns, but it's the perfect size for a coaster. So I thought, hey, why not? So I went ahead and released that. So there's the Brookside coaster, which you can find for free on my blog. It's got the full video tutorial too, if you want a video pattern. But then in addition to that, I am going to be releasing 3 patterns kind of all at the same time here. I'm aiming for the 28th of January. I think that's a Friday. And it's going to have a hat, a scarf, and a cowl. And kind of the idea behind it is I wanted something that was going to be something that anybody could wear, whether you're a guy or a gal. And honestly, I set out with the intent for making a hat for men because, you know, I've got 2 boys and a husband, and, you know, most of the hat patterns out there, they're really hard to find some that are interesting and unique for men. And so when I learned this spiked boxes crochet stitch and I started working it in rows, I'm like, it kind of makes like this little herringbone sort of pattern. And so I'm like, oh, that would look really cool as a hat. I'm going to do that. And so, yeah. And that's what I ended up giving. Like my brother loved it at Christmas and wouldn't take it off. It was that hat. So, so yeah, it kind of just spawned. I was like, well, you know, a hat needs a matching scarf. I mean, guys wear scarves and it's winter. So, so the scarf happened. And then I'm like, well, but maybe we need a cowl too, you know? So it's just kind of evolved. And so there's 3 patterns that'll be coming out. I'm hoping to get it all tidied up and ready and released on January 28th. So yeah, it's fun.
It is. I love a good matching set. I'm very matchy. So I love to be able to make things that coordinate together. That also makes really great gift sets to be able to gift, you know, something that a fresh, cozy make for someone to wear for the winter. And I totally agree. The majority, I think I can say without any real research behind this, the majority of designers are female. And we make a lot for ourselves and for
other women,
female makers. Right. So it can be difficult to find unisex items or stuff that are more appropriate for men. And when I ran a charity group at our church in Ohio, we were talking with someone who was collecting hats for cancer patients, and they were saying, we need men's hats because the majority of people are women who make the hats. They make lots of beautiful feminine hats,
flowers and
and you know, purples and pinks and more feminine colors. And so to have more hats that men could feel comfortable wearing was a need of theirs. So I think that what a great thing to have out there. Never too many unisex or men's hats. That's great.
Yeah, one of my testers, she was saying, because her husband had been asking for a hat, and she's like, when she saw my tester call go out, she's like, oh my gosh, this is perfect timing. And as soon as she finished one for him and he tried it on, he's like, oh yeah, this is good. Can you make me another one in this color? I'm like, I love it. I love that he loves it so much. So yeah, I've gotten really great feedback from my testers and their models.
I love it. I love it. That's wonderful. Do you have any pictures of that up on your Instagram?
Yes.
Okay.
On my Instagram feed. Yeah, there's pictures of the hat. It's actually modeled pictures. I don't think I have a flat layout there. I'll have to look again. I can't remember what I've posted. And then there's a picture of the scarf in progress, but
also right here.
Yes, also right here. The only thing not on there yet that hasn't been pictured is the cowl, and that's because I intend to wear. So I gifted the cowl that I made because it was for my sister-in-law. So I like tried it on and I did really quick pictures, but I really hate the pictures that I did because like I look like I hate being in front of a camera. I really do. And I just look like an idiot. So I'm gonna redo the pictures and maybe get somebody else to be my model. But that's the only one that's not on the feed right now. The scarf and the hat, I think both are in some form. So I'll be sharing more of it though over the next couple of weeks.
Perfect. And now that I think about it, I have a blog post to go along with our chat here, and it'll be linked in the description below. And I believe you gave me a picture of a flat lay of the hat and the scarf.
I think I did. It might even have.
They will
Did
be
I put
on
the
my
whole
blog.
thing? I think I put the whole collection in there.
Well, there you go.
I think
Even
I
better.
did. I think you're going to have
how
an
together we have it.
Yeah, the whole gang. You have the whole thing even before I do. That's awesome. No, that's great.
So if you want to check out the full collection in all its glory, you can check it out on my blog, and then go follow Kristen at all of her places, which is also linked below, so that you won't miss out on the release of this beautiful collection, especially if you've got a gentleman or children in your life. And I mean, it's a gorgeous stitch pattern, you know, looking at your beautiful pictures. And so it's not just for men.
No, and I mean, obviously, but the stitch pattern itself, I don't know if I can show you a close up on this. Should I try? I don't know.
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Sorry, this is a little bit sideways. So it kind of runs left and right here as the rows, and it's the way it's angled. They're like spiked double crochets that are slanted. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I really like it. I made it with a little larger hook size than the yarn recommends, so that it's a little bit drapier for the stitch pattern. There's a lot of stretch to it, and yeah, it's just really pretty, and I think it works for either men or women. And I don't know, I love it. I like it.
Stretch is always good for a hat.
Yeah, definitely. And I had to kind of play with that negative ease too, but there's going to be, so it does have a brim to it too. So even though the hat is stretchy, the brim will be nice and snug to your head. So I like that because I want it to like hug you, you know?
Right.
There's my.
You can't have the wind blowing up into the hat when it's chilly outside.
Right. Yes, exactly. So yeah,
I love it. Okay. Now you got to show us, because he poked their head up.
Oh, this is how I get my work done. She has to be on my lap the entire time. Like, I'll put her down, and within seconds, she's like, so yeah, she's so sweet. She's so cuddly, and I just gave her a bath this morning, so she's all fluffy, and she smells nice. So,
oh my gosh, I love it. What's her name?
This is Charlie. She's a little beach poo. Bichon and poodle. Yeah. Yep. She's a sweetheart. She just likes to
cute
snuggle. She's just an baby.
I love it. Michelle asked, is she shy?
No.
She's indiscriminate. She'll sit in anybody's lap.
Well, if I'm there, she'll usually prefer my lap. Mm-hmm. But she's recently allowed my husband to snuggle her more regularly. But no, she's not shy. Like, she'll come up and she'll give you kisses, and she'll want you to play with her. And she's just really a really good all around personality for a dog. I love her so much. And it's so funny because I was the one that didn't want the dog, but I got one. So, and yeah, like, I just literally, like, I don't know how many pictures I post on my stories. Every once in a while, I'm like, okay, trying to get some work done. Somebody's sleeping on the job, like, yeah. So she's a good girl, though.
Oh, so sweet.
You got a new puppy too, don't you?
Yes, we have had him for not quite a year, and he is a 60-pound lap dog. He also likes to be on top of it. So I never had dogs growing up, and I've always been in love with the herding breeds. And so fairly shortly after we got married, we got a border collie, and he was all black. And my husband said, we should call him Shadow. And I said, oh, only I get to name the pets. And
it's a cute name, though.
It is a cute name. Well, and I'm picky. And so I like old man names for dogs. So he was named, this isn't really an old man name, but we named him Cooper, but he should have been named Shadow. And I've learned that every herding breed should just be named Shadow because they will follow you everywhere.
She does that too. It's funny because, like we'll go outside and my husband still freaks out that she's going to run away. I'm like, the only reason she would run is if I was running there too, because, if I'm not, she will just follow me wherever. And I mean, she's chilled out. She's a little over a year now. So it's like, in the puppy phase, if she saw something, she might take off, and she might still try to do that now. So we're still very careful, obviously. But like, if there's no distractions or anything and I'm walking out to the mailbox, I'm like, yeah, you can come. Like, that's fine. But yeah, she's also a shadow, a white shadow, but a white shadow.
Yeah. I love it. So fun. Okay. I'm going to ask you some of your favorites. Are you ready?
Okay.
I feel like this first one is the hardest.
Okay.
What is the favorite thing you've designed? It's like choosing from your children.
That's not a fair question. I think probably one of my most favorite things that I've designed was the Marigold Market Bag, which I really like that because of its versatility, and it's got like just the right amount of interesting combined with the right amount of meditative for a project for me, because it's got like this mandala base and then the rest is netting. So
cool.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Do you have a favorite type of thing to design, like hats or cowls or bags? Or
not really. I think I don't know. I think I do a lot of like shawls and wraps for some reason. I guess I just like to wrap myself in things. And I've got a blanket pattern out there, and I've been thinking, actually I've been sitting on one. Because that's computer work. Darn you. But I think I prefer the things that I can wrap around myself, I guess, is where I'm coming at. Where like I've got the shawls, the wraps, the blankets, the scarves. Yeah. I think probably that would be my favorite thing to design.
That's great. Where's your favorite place to work?
If I'm in the house, it's usually just in this one corner of the couch next to the table for my tea. It's got a window behind me and the TV in front of me. So I can Netflix and chill. Otherwise, I really like it when we go camping. I'll take projects with me and I'll just work like around the nature sounds and in front of the crackling fire and all that stuff. So that's probably my next favorite.
That sounds super relaxing. Do you like to take your yarn on the go? Like, do you always have something you take with you?
I don't always. It depends on what I'm doing. But like last night, basketball practice, for example, totally did. I used to take my son to go play at like the train store. Taking my yarn. So yeah, if I'm going to be sitting and not really having to actually do something, then I'll take it. But I often tell my friends, like when they're trying to get together, like do things, it's like, I'm bringing yarn, just so you know.
You just need to be aware. This is my limit. The yarn comes too.
Yes. If you love me with the yarn.
I love it. What's your favorite yarn to work with? It doesn't have to be a specific yarn. You can say like worsted weight, or I really love hand dyed. Like, you don't have to say Lion brand this in this color.
No, I really like a variety. Like I go through kicks, like I'll be on a kick where I'm doing something in really like all bulky, like super bulky. And then I'm like, I can't do that anymore. I got to go to DK or fingering. So I think I'm really just like, it's all on a whim for me. I can tell you that some of my favorite specific yarns have gotten discontinued, which makes me super sad. Like the Color Made Easy. I feel like that was out for like 2 minutes and then it's gone. And I'm like, I love that stuff. And I liked it because it was acrylic, and wool, I know, don't hate me, but wool is so itchy for me. I can't stand to wear it.
I found wool spun literally as they were discontinuing it, and I loved the loft on it. I loved that it was a bulky, which I feel like is kind of finding a really nice smooth bulky. There's not a lot out there. And then they discontinued it, and I was so sad. And then they came out with Colored Made Easy, and I was like, ah,
I
the
know.
replacement
And
to
all
wool
those
spun.
great colors.
Yes. And then poof.
I know it's
Yeah.
gone.
I'm right there with you.
And now we have Hue and Me, which is very similar to, I think, the wool spun.
Okay.
I think that's what it was modeled after.
Okay. Sure.
I don't know. I thought that was what it was behind her story. It could have been I don't know. Don't quote me. But yeah, I'm really disappointed. That, and then I don't think they've discontinued it per se, but they only sell it on the Yarnspirations website now. I can never find it in stores anymore. And it's the
I know where you're going.
Yeah, the Bernat Maker.
Or Bernat Maker. Yeah.
Maker,
like,
the home deck stuff. That's also a bulky size. And I just absolutely love it for anything that's like for around the home. Like if you wanted to make like a trivet or something, or you know, cup cozies for your like cold drinks. Stuff like that. I love this the tubular quality of it because it has such amazing stitch definition. And of course now I can never find it. So
yes. I don't think you are alone in lamenting that. I don't think you're alone in lamenting either of those things.
Yeah, no, I know they're like gone for good. I'm like, I don't know. But those are probably, I don't know. I go back and forth. I really love the hand dyed yarns. And I splurge on them when I'm able. So, but yeah, I think if I can't really just pick one type, I love them all.
Do you have a favorite fiber to work with? Obviously not wool.
No, not really wool. I really like acrylic, like the premium acrylics. I know that's very like anti-earth, but
they're very practical.
They are, and they wash well, and they wear well, and they hold up well. But on the flip side, I also really like cotton blends, and especially like bamboo blends as well, because I love that sheen, the sheen, and the like the kind of strength of it. Like it just, I feel like it. There's a lot of durability there.
Yes.
So
I feel like bamboo often also gives a really nice drape to the cotton, whereas 100% cotton can sometimes be kind of stiff, but when there's the blend of the bamboo in there, it really gives some really gorgeous drape.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Do you have a favorite hook to work with, size or brand?
So the size just depends on the yarn, which I'm kind of all over the place, but I'd say that I probably most frequently use my Clover Amour hooks. I have some of the fancier hooks too, like the furls. I have a couple of Odyssey hooks, which I like, but sometimes the head on the hook is like not my preference. So I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place, but I think my go-to is definitely the Clover Amours.
I did not even know when I started that there were different shapes for hook heads, or for the.
I call them a head. I don't know.
The head
I know
of the
it
hook.
does.
I mean, I think it's technically called the head of the hook. The tip of your crochet hook. There are different shapes to that, and people have strong. If you have a preference, people have a strong preference for a certain certain shape. Which
everybody's always like boys or Bates.
Right. Yes.
That's basically it in a nutshell. I do feel like the Odyssey, a lot of the Furls brand, like lines of their hook heads have like kind of in between, but I feel like they're a little bit more towards the inline.
Okay.
At least the Odysseys. But I don't know. I feel like the Amour is a good like middle ground.
Yes. Yeah. They're super durable. They slide nice through the yarn. Yeah.
They don't hold up well to puppy teeth, in case you're wondering. I have lost a couple, We mourn their loss. I have replaced them.
Oh boy. Nothing at my house has held up well to puppy teeth. Thankfully, he has not had shown any interest in hooks or yarn other than he wants to also be on the lap with the yarn.
Yes. Yes. That I understand.
What's your favorite thing to drink while you work?
Usually tea. Sometimes just water, but most often I have tea next to me. I love my chais right now. I'm on such a chai kick. Yeah. Tea.
Me too. Are you hot tea all year round, or do you go to iced tea in the summer?
I would say in the summertime, I'm probably 80% hot tea, 20% cold tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet tea?
Yeah. Yeah. I usually, if I'm going to do it, I usually do like a fruit blend.
Mm-hmm.
So not a black tea for iced tea. And then I'll mix it with a lemonade, like Crystal Light.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's usually my cold tea. But otherwise, I'm hot tea all year round.
I love it. What's your favorite color?
Green. Green's my favorite. Followed
All
very
shades?
closely by blue. Not all shades, but most of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them.
What's your favorite season?
Fall. Fall. I love all the colors of fall. It's the cozy season.
Mm-hmm.
I love the smell of it, and apple cider and pumpkins and all of it.
All the good things. All the good things.
All the good
things live in fall.
Yes. All good things live in fall. I like that.
I love it. All right. I'm going to do a little this or that.
Okay.
Book or podcast?
Book.
Audiobook or physical book?
Yes.
And also. Do you ever listen to a book and then go back and like physically read it?
Yes, I have. Especially with like books that I think are kind of trickier to understand,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'll listen to it and then I'll go back and read it.
Yes. Yeah. I find I enjoy listening to an audiobook, but I don't retain it as much as reading a physical book.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you prefer a sweater or a cardigan?
Sweater, cardigan, sweater. Yes.
Sweater with a cardigan on top of it.
Yes.
Are you a salty or a sweet snack?
Oh, sweet. I have like all the teeth in my mouth are all sweet teeth. It's bad.
Not just one sweet tooth.
All of them.
All the sweet teeth.
Yes.
I love that. I love it. Which is worse, swatching or weaving in your ends?
Oh, ends for sure. I hate ends.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So fun. All right. We're almost at an hour here, and those are all my questions. I have had so much fun talking to you, Kristen.
Yes, thanks for having me. It's always so much fun talking with you, Sarah.
Yes, I enjoy it so much. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you taking your time, and it's been so much fun to learn more about you.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And you made it so easy, even though I was so nervous.
Oh, good. I love it. I tell people we're just a chit chat. It's fine. It's not like there's no pressure here. We're very chill.
I like it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Such another wonderful chat. I always love learning about people. And like I said, every time I learn something new about the people I chat with, no matter how well we know each other. So it's always such a joy. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would like it. It helps me gain a better understanding of what kind of videos you want to see in the future. If you have any questions for myself or Kristen, go ahead and share them in the chat. We'll check back in and answer those for you if we can. I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos that I share here. All the links all the links to Kristen, all the links to myself are in the description below. You'll see like the little first line, just click the more, and you'll be connected to all the things, including the blog post where you can go see Kristen's upcoming collection of patterns. So thank you so much for joining me today. Happy crafting, everybody.